Do you think that this will make it easier for like younger designers coming through, younger black designers coming through?
I don't say it's a easy or hard situation. I think it's telling designers to not be so focused on trend.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like focus on your passion, but also focus on the quality
Okay.
and the standard, or focus on what your product represents.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I hope that people see this and motivated to say, hey, you can do these things. But I think this is a piece of the puzzle, right? Retail is a piece of the puzzle. Marketing is a piece of the puzzle.
Right.
All these different things are pieces of the puzzle to push your brand to whatever stratosphere that you want it to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this allows us to get in front of more customers and for them to see the mission and the values of what we represent, and hopefully they can spread the energy to other people as well.
Wow.
Bounce.
Whoa, goddamn. Whoa, goddamn. Whoa, 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 goddamn. Whoa, goddamn. Whoa, goddamn.
Just bounce. Oh, hey.
We are here for another episode of Taste, and we have another special guest, Mr. Archie Clay.
What's up?
He is a former Tuskegee graduate. He's also a member of Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated, founder of Brain Love, a new line that he created within the last year, and also the former co-founder of Brims. So first and foremost, how do you define taste?
I think taste is like your true inner who you are. Being truly who you are is what taste is. Being aware of like the details of creating those experiences for people, or even clothing, or being aware of those things and aligning it to something that's powerful. I think that is a lens of taste.
Do you have to have money to have taste?
No, I don't think so. I think there's people out here that don't have money that have more taste than people that do have money.
Yeah.
Because I think that money clouds taste. Because you think that you can just buy swag.
Yeah.
You can't just buy swag.
Yeah.
I think that you have to have it and be aware of it, right? And own it. Then we get money, this just adds to it. But I think people, when they get money, they think that that's why I have taste. Like, there's a lot of people out there that got money that can't dress.
Can you teach taste?
I think you can teach taste.
Think so? Okay.
I think you got to be, the person that you're teaching it to has to want to learn and be aware of it. A lot of times people be so caught up in their own stuff that they're not willing to say, okay, I'm not as cool as I thought I was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I ain't always been the coolest person, but like, if you can be confident in who you are, what you put on just adds another layer to that confidence.
You grew up in Atlanta.
Yeah.
What part of Atlanta you grew up in?
Stone Mountain.
So tell me, what was it like growing up in Stone Mountain? I presume in the early 2000s, somewhere in there. What was the general experience? What was the vibe?
Crazy. I feel like that was a Black Mob area.
Black Mob area?
Black Mob area.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big gang out there.
Yeah.
Black Mob was like a pretty well-known gang on the east side of Atlanta.
Okay.
They pretty much like, not terrorized, but they were like pretty much in all the different east side schools, like MOK, Lithonia, Columbia, Stone Mountain. And I think, not even say dangerous, but it was just a different area where it's just a lot of fight, honestly. Like, it was the crime mob era, the nuck if you buck.
Yeah.
In the club, like, you step on somebody's shoe, there's really about to be a situation. I didn't go out, I didn't party until like probably my end of my junior, top of my senior year, because honestly it was dangerous, because like, you couldn't just go to a party without something popping off.
Something popping off, right.
You know what I mean? So my mom was just like, you're not about to be out there like that. So
Yeah.
like, my surrounding, my energy is a little different than most people because of my mom.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, my mom was like very strict as far as like going out and being in the house and things of that nature. You know what I mean? So my experience is pretty chill. You know, I think everybody, especially, I think a lot of times people don't think about like Stone Mountain and Central Drive. Those is like, Stone Mountain used to be a very like well-known,
Oh yes, for sure.
prominent area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For doctors and lawyers and all those things. And I think it definitely has changed in so many ways, like the last last decade.
Yeah.
Compared to where I was, but I think it was going that way because people, for some reason, wanted to be in the suburbs, but still wanted to bring the hood to the suburbs culture.
Right,
you know what I
right,
mean?
right.
So 21 Savage, his manager, Meezy, from Stone Mountain, and has done amazing things with 21 Savage and helped his career be where it is right now. So there's still positivity in those areas as well.
Did you know what you wanted to do when you were growing up?
No, that's crazy. No, I didn't actually. Like, I really didn't. You talked about being a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer for a second. Like, I went to a lawyer camp at Georgia State. I loved it, but I realized that that's not something I wanted to do.
Right.
I don't think I really had a true idea of what I wanted to do. Probably maybe my junior year of college.
Okay.
Maybe. But I think that wasn't even true either as well.
Right.
I think it was just what I seen and what Tuskegee
Right.
pushed you to do. Like, oh, you want to go to corporate and you want to do sales and, Mr. Freeman, all these different things. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do, all up to college.
What was the upbringing of your parents? Were they supporting you at that time? Were they encouraging you?
Right.
What was their message to you as a whole?
So my mom was always a person so my dad had a mental breakdown when I was 3.
Okay.
So my dad was in and out of my life, my whole life. And it was always challenging for me because I never understood, because my mama always talked so well about him. He's the best. He was swaggy back in college, but he wasn't around. So I was always a little confused of why is she talking so good about him, but he's not around?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I always struggled with that. But my mom was always someone that just taught me be aware of your emotions, and your emotion can be a power to you. Nothing wrong with crying. I got all that type of energy. My mom was someone that was very supportive. So from a confidence standpoint, I never worried about my confidence. My mom was the person there. If I knew my mom was there, I didn't have to worry about anybody else. Honestly, I think that's why my confidence is so high, because I know that my mom will keep it 100 with me. If I was trash, I was trash.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I'll sing one day, boy, you can't sing. Leave that alone. It wasn't oh, you can try again. No. She'll tell me this is you, this is not you. Everybody's not good at everything, and it's okay. You know what I mean? And it's okay to be okay with that.
Right.
2016, I started my first company called Web Rams. A lot of people probably know me for that. It was everything. It was my everything. It was started based on the principle of my grandmother. My grandmother passed away from cancer when I was in college, my sophomore year. So I wanted to create something that was built on her legacy. And we were able to do amazing things. We scaled it to over 7 figures over 7 years. We were in Neiman Marcus and Nordstrom, a lot of amazing things. But unfortunately, me and my business partner, we split. I just felt like it was taken away from me. Having my community, having my wife, having my mother and my family, they were inspiring me and motivating me to stay in and know that this is a part of the journey. I took a step back to become more spiritual, really lock into God and see what that journey looks like for me. And that was the birth of Brain Love. As you see, we're here right now.
So what made you decide to go to Tuskegee University?
I wanted to go to Hampton. I visited Morehouse first. Didn't like it at all.
Okay.
My granddaddy really wanted me to go to Morehouse, and I went there to visit, and I was I ain't going here. Norm is horrible. I'm just not doing this.
Right.
So we went to Tuskegee, and I remember first I had the best orientation, the best tour guide in the world, Streeter. She was amazing. I just fell in love with the campus, and it felt like home.
Yes,
it literally felt
does.
like home. It was further enough from Atlanta that I wasn't in Atlanta, but it was close enough to still get back.
So when you decided sales and marketing, did you have any idea of what that you wanted to do with that when you finished?
I knew I wanted to be in business or something.
To some degree, right?
Yeah, I knew that probably can help me in some facet. No, I didn't want to be a lawyer. No, I didn't want to do anything in medicine.
Right.
This is just the right thing to do.
At some point, you decide to join Alpha Phi Alpha.
Best in the world.
What made you decide to do that?
So my dad wanted to be a Newt.
Okay.
Right, but we wasn't close. But my granddad wanted to be an Alpha.
Okay.
He went to Tennessee State. So he'll always tell the story when I was younger about him going to Tennessee State, and he was online, and he basically had no money. Someone stole his trunk of clothes and all his stuff in his trunk that had all his valuables in there. Someone stole it, so he had no money. So he had to decide either he had to go get a job and do something or finish the line. He decided not to because he had no money. Damn. You know what I mean? So he always wanted to do it. So, and my grandma was an AK.
Okay.
And my auntie was an AK. I pretty much knew about Alpha my entire life. I got on campus and realized they won on the yard. Right. I was like, God dang.
Yeah.
But
sorry about that.
I was like, God dang. But then I used to see Auburn. They would come down and do, and show off and the stroll and stuff. I was like, okay, there's a little hope. And I just kind of stayed in the mix. I stayed in the mix and hustled. And then that's how I met my best friend. My best friend Phil. We got close because we were both trying to get down. I watched this PBS documentary about Alpha, but it talked about the Niagara Fall movement. It talked about all these things that Alpha did. It just added more layers to this. I want to be a part of an organization that's making impact like this, even behind scenes. They were behind scenes a lot of stuff that people don't even realize. Yeah, you know what I mean. So that made me truly want to be a part of it.
When I was in school, when I saw MLK was an alpha, I was like, well, it was kind of like, well, if he's an alpha, then that says a lot. Right. You graduate with a degree in sales and marketing, and then you go into corporate America. Tell me about that experience.
My mom helped me get my first job. So I worked at Target and like HR operations. That was probably one of my best like jobs opportunities.
Okay.
But when you work inside the store, like, in the operations field, in the HR, you're basically doing pretty much everything. Like you're running the store, sometimes you're running the register, you're interacting with customers, you're doing assets protection, you're doing the truck. I'm basically learning everything about business.
Right.
Like everything about business.
Okay.
And it was stressful at the time because I would be doing stuff that I was like, man, I'm too good to be doing.
Yeah.
I am a graduate and I'm over here folding towels.
Yeah.
But like when you go through this leadership program, like you have to like close a store, and then some days like you have to run a department before you start running a full department. Before I was over did HR, I ran like the home department. I stayed at Target for about 2 years, but then they got an opportunity to go to JCPenney's, got a pay increase, went there for a little bit, and then after JCPenney's, I went to Marshall's, worked there for a little bit. That's when Wear Brands kind of came into play.
But were you able to pick up on anything that helped you going forward with your businesses?
I think it's just being aware of all the layers of business.
Everything.
Like everything matters. The customer experience matters, right? But everything's connected. How the truck flows in the back is connected to how the product gets out on the floor and how the customer engages with the product, to how the product looks on the floor, like how it's positioned.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like everything matters to the customer eye. Like it's a full circle of motion. That's why I realized like everything matters. So even
Everything matters. Yeah.
When I started Wear Brands, I wanted to know every aspect of the business because that will help me make the best decisions when the team grew or I brought in people to cover these certain potential opportunities and roles, right? Some days in retail, like you're not gonna make your sales goals. Then of course you gotta figure out how to increase it the next day. You know what I mean? You gotta add that missing sales goals to the weekend. You know what I mean? So there's so many different ways of how you kind of like still make things happen when maybe things are not going where you need them to go in the middle of the week or at the top of the week. I mean, my first Black Friday, I was like, oh my God. And I ran the front.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We had like almost like 60 cashiers up front and people was running through it was wow. I'm like, this is crazy. But it was cool. It was a cool experience to see that, to know like this is how you kind of run a retail store or you run a business in general.
Even when you have those issues or those situations where you feel down or you feel defeated, that's just a feeling in that moment. And it's okay to have that feeling in the moment because at the end of the day, we're human at the end of the day. But we always say within the brand love is your evolution starts with you.
You started Wear Brands and you had a co-founder in Wear Brands. How did you guys come together? How did you formulate the company? How did all that come about?
My co-founder, he actually was a bro, went to Troy University, so I knew him from school. When I graduated, we kind of kept in touch, here and there. But around 2016, I was talking about hats, and we kind of was talking about different ideas and names. And he was like, "Why don't you just call it Brims?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of hard." So I started like researching and try to make an LLC for it and things of that nature. Couldn't do it because I can't just do brims.
Right.
So I added the wear
Right.
to the brims.
Got it.
But then I also was just like, man, as we started to dive in, I wanted to connect it back to my grandmother. I love fashion, but I didn't really know much about it. I know business, you know what I mean? I know how to hustle. I knew he loved fashion. Like, he was stylish and things of that nature, so I knew that could be an asset to the business.
Right.
Like, he didn't have no background in hats or none of that. From there, we just started working and grinding and hustling and just doing different pop-ups throughout the city, and the product was not the best in the beginning.
And for those who don't know what Wear Brims is, what products did you have and explain to them?
Wear Brands was a luxury hat company, strictly hats.
Okay.
That was our niche and that was our focus. Strictly on fedoras. Like, we didn't do baseball caps until 2020. Hoodies didn't come until maybe another 2 years after that.
How did the business go, like from the beginning to the end?
We went from doing, our first year probably did like maybe $20,000. I was slinging hats. I was out of the car. From 20 went to 50. From 50 went to 100. 100, 50. We went to 2 to 2, 3. Just started to tick up. And the first time we sold out our hats in like a day.
Wow. And
that was a day where I was like, oh, we got something. We got highlighted by Oprah. Ended up getting in Nordstrom's. It solidified that we actually had a legit business.
Right.
And we were doing 6 figures every year.
What do you think was the biggest thing that allowed you guys to go from the 20,000 to the 6 figures? Was it the product? Was it the marketing?
I think it was definitely the product. I think we always, one thing we did very well is that we made it look good even when we had nothing on the back end.
Right.
Like, the aesthetic wise is what we always focused on. If we're going to shoot content, it's going to look like the best content ever. That's something that we did very well. And the next thing is like community. I think that was a period where community was a thing around our story and mission and values. You know, the confidence. Like, being confident who you are, wearing a crown on your head. You know what I mean? Like we were for one of the first companies to really push that and making fedoras cool. We made it cool aligned to like wearing joggers and wearing a long coat, and that we took it away from just a suit.
Right.
Period. You know what I mean? We made it different.
I know even, when I would wear the hats, when I would travel, I text you, people would stop me all the time saying where you get a hat from. And I was like, wow, they got something, because I would get stopped literally in any city I would go to, any country I would go to, they would stop me and ask me about the hat, the height of everything. It feels like you guys should be this huge company at this point right now. What was something that you learned that maybe could have changed how things went?
I don't like conflict, and sometimes I avoid having those tough conversations. I think that my business partner is super talented in so many ways, right? But I also think that talent is just talent if you're not willing to put everything into it. That's where the missing gap was. I was willing to put everything on the line, like literally. I lost my car. I sacrificed a lot, and I'm not saying that he didn't sacrifice, but I think there's layers to it when it comes to business and what you're willing to do, to take your business to the next level. And I felt that we all have more to give. We were at the pinnacle of the business, and I think that it wasn't taken serious at the pinnacle of the business. We had different perspectives, and I wanted his perspective to be my perspective.
Okay.
And that honestly wasn't fair.
So you want to scale up?
Oh yeah.
I think community is everything. I think without community, you really can't accomplish the true essence of success. I know when I was going through my challenges with my company and my business partner, my family, my wife, my brother, my sister, they were the ones that I can lean on, I can cry, I can be as vulnerable as I can with my emotions. Sometimes it's hard to have these conversations with individuals that may not be aware of what that looks like, right? And I think it's okay to be vulnerable in those moments and be able to express yourself wholeheartedly of the challenges that you're having and the challenges that you're having in those moments, because it is very difficult when you're trying to push forward, but maybe you don't feel like it. I see that you're struggling. I see that you can do more. I know you may not want to, but get up. Like, you gotta have to have that tough love. You gotta have someone to tell you that, hey, like, you need to just get up and do it.
What advice would you give to somebody who wants to get into a partnership of any kind of company? What advice would you give them before they start that partnership?
Make sure you're online on what your short-term goals are and what your long-term goals are. I thought I knew what his long-term goals was. And have that conversation. If we get to this point of scaling, when do we plan to go full-time? Because that has to happen sooner or later. Have those tough conversations early, like, hey, like, if you decide that you don't want to do it anymore, what does that look like? Just because you started a company with someone doesn't mean that you're just 50-50. That's not the same thing.
You guys did disband. You then launched Brain Love, which is not just a clothing line, it's also a mental health awareness line.
Right.
How did all of that come about?
It was a tough time for me because I just felt upset. I gave everything to this business, like financially, mentally, like everything, like literally. We were there, and now it's like gotta start all over again. During this time, I kind of took a step back and really got locked in spiritually and kind of figured out like what is my next step. I didn't know if it was clothing. I didn't know if it was me going back to get a job. My wife opened up lounges in future bars, and she mentioned like, oh, Brainchild. Like, we would call it Brainchild. That's a pretty fine name. So I asked her, like, can I take this name and kind of go with it? So I basically kind of like started like, formulating ideas around it, kind of got back creatively inclined. And I realized that people are going through stuff like every single day. People are struggling. People are having trouble like being aware of who they are or pushing themselves forward and evolving and things of these nature. So I was like, man, why not create a brand that is connected, but it's cool, connected to that perspective. Everyone wants to evolve. Like, everyone wants to try to get better. They might not have the resources or the right community around them. Let us be that community. I was talking to Complex to try to connect with them, make some stuff happen with Complex, and they hit me up and said, hey, there's another brand called Brainchild. And I already had samples in play. Oh, wow. I had a whole design, everything good to go. I had to like scrap all that and like redesign everything and make new samples. And I was upset because I was like, damn, another obstacle. So I just kind of locked in. And I just started thinking about, okay, what can I call? I know I wanted to keep Brain in it, but what's something that still aligns to the mission and values of what we're trying to curate? And Love came to me, and I kept like, is it Brain Love is too cliche? And I just kind of kept saying it, and I kind of just said, all right, we're gonna lean into it. From there, we created the first collection, We called it Love You Collection because I wanted everything to be around. I had to lock in back to who I was and what I'm good at. I'm super grateful because I was able to be given something to do it in a way where I can still create, but also I can make impact as well.
Every time I wear something that you created, people stop me. It's dope that you have that type of impact on people.
I think that's like my gift, and not even in a cocky way. Like I can create something that is a conversation starter. It connects you to other people. Love You Collection, it does that. You know what I mean? It sparks that conversation. It sparks that love, and it sparks that camaraderie. You know, it sparks that community. For us, this is a lifestyle. Like we want people to feel like you're connected to a community, and when you see somebody else wearing it, it's like, oh, you're aligned. You love yourself first and foremost. You have to be invested with our product because of the price point as well. I want people to be able to first, when they touch it and feel it, like, oh man, I love the quality. It aligns to the price point, but then also when you hear the story, it's like, man, like now I have to be a part of this.
When you think about taste, you said sometimes when someone is wearing your product, it shows that you kind of have some type of alignment with one another.
Right.
But you can actually apply that to any type of brand. Like if I see someone wearing a Rolex or an AP, there's an alignment there somewhere. Walk me through the design. How'd you formulate it from the logo to all the design on the back?
I design very simplistic. Like I don't like the graphics on the front.
Really?
So you will never probably see graphics in anything that we do on the front.
Wow, okay.
I just feel like when you have so much on the front, especially a t-shirt or like a high-end t-shirt, it's so hard to dress it up. When you have like a detail on the front, you can dress it up a little bit. Of course, you can't still wear it to a ball or something, but I can still wear this with some slacks and some loafers. I wanted to tell a story on the back, so when you saw the back, it'll make you read. So anytime I walk in, people are like, "Oh, can I stop? Can you be still?
Right.
Can I read the back of it?" And once they read the back of it, they say, "Oh wow, that's fire." Like even the fit of it, like I wanted it for people that still want to have that trendy look where it can be oversized.
Yep.
But also, if you wear it size down, it's still fitted.
Yes.
It's tailored, but it's not a boxy. It has a box look, but it's not a box look.
And when I wear mine, I feel like that. I'm like, it's the perfect length.
Yeah, it's perfect
length. You can hide your stomach if you need to.
Yeah,
Or if you
know what I'm saying? Like if you could go both ways, and I
Yeah.
think we're in the period now from a trend standpoint, it's the boxy look is what it is,
Yes.
right? But I don't like the true boxy look because your average person doesn't really know what that really is, know how to dress that up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I want to give it to them right in the middle.
I feel like these last few years, I just don't know where to go.
Right.
I go in somewhere, I'm like, I'm not wearing none of this stuff. Right. And then some places they're charging $700 for a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no way this t-shirt's worth $700.
Right.
You go over here, I don't like this. This is too tight. This is too big. This is too this.
Right.
I'm like, everything's all over the place. And because I hang around a lot of professional athletes, a lot of fashion people,
Right.
I'm like, you did not get this out of the store. Right. Or this was not something you just went in somewhere and got.
Right.
Like no one is dressing out of the store anymore. Everyone's either curating their outfits or it's I don't know what they're doing, but it's not just went in the store.
Right.
Hey, where do you shop? How do you also, because I've seen how your style has changed over the last maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
When it comes to your taste, how do you decide now what your style is?
I'm all comfortability.
Okay.
Like I love comfortability, but I think there's taste and comfortability.
Right.
Swag
It definitely is, right.
And I think we were taught that maybe the comfortability isn't swag, comfortability isn't taste, comfortability isn't luxury. But luxury is how you rock. How I flow now is like, and how I dress is based on comfortability, but also on proportions, how your body look. Like a perfect example, like my boy John Bailey, one of the flyest guys out there because he knows his body structure and he knows how to align his look to his body.
Okay.
Right? If you have big legs, you can't wear skinny jeans.
Right.
Nothing wrong with skinny jeans, but everybody can't do it.
Right.
I can't do skinny jeans no more. Like I just got big butt and titty legs now. I can't do it. So like I'm more of a tailored, straight leg type of guy now. You know what I mean? I shop at Essence, like a retail store called Essence. I just find pieces.
Yeah.
I find pieces, and Cost is a great basic store if you want just good basics, good pants.
Cost?
Cost, COS.
Oh, wow.
It's a great like basic store. It's kind of similar to like Zara, but more elevated. I shop online normally. And I think men got to understand, like, you can shop online. Like, you can return it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can try it on and you can return it if it doesn't fit. But also, it's like, man, our body, it doesn't change as often as we think it is. Like, if you are a size 32, you're going to be a size 32.
Right.
That's your size. You know what I mean? But I think also it's like, it's okay to play out your comfort zone a little bit. Like, style is universal. Style is not what people tell you, is how you feel. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, I don't align to anybody else. Yes, I pay attention to certain people that like I get inspiration from, like Tyrod Taylor, like Superfly football player, Stephon Diggs, Dex Robb is super a stylist.
Russell Westbrook.
I like some of his stuff.
far?
Not,
Okay.
not everything that he does. I do like his style because that's someone that dresses for him.
Right.
He wears what he likes.
Success is not just focused to just money, but it's focused on mind and body. And we want to be a vehicle for that. And I think in order to do that, it takes all the brothers and women and everyone that has a platform, a mental health platform, or whatever you have to be connected to make change.
So what's the future of Brain Love going forward? Like, what were your plans for the company going forward?
Man, so we are about to take ourselves to the moon. You know what I mean? I think we're in a great position right now. This month is our 1 year anniversary. Just launched in Bloomingdale's. We'll be in Bloomingdale's for a whole month with the goal of being there going forward. But also more importantly, I think it's focused on impact. We're doing a lot of panel conversations, and I think our main thing is making people understand who we are. And I always like to use Patagonia as a North Star. You can truly see that what their impact is.
Wow. Okay.
You go to social media, you go to the website, like their impact is their impact. That's how I want Brain Love to be. I want Brain Love to be a movement and a lifestyle, but on the luxury side. We want to curate these amazing events, these amazing parties, these amazing curations, but also still connected to that lifestyle, because I do believe that wellness and your mind still aligns to being rich or wanting to be rich. Those things are more important than the money, because the money will come, you know what I mean? So like when you get the money, how do you keep the money? I want to create a brand where we have power, where we can impact policies, because what I'm doing now is like I'm doing a little bit more research on like what are other countries that have better policies in play. Like Sweden, their main focus is making sure they have great policies in play to make a better impact on how the humans in their country move and react, and they have time to themselves, and they have time to relax, and they have kids, they have that good time to cope from these different things.
Right.
Like there's a lot of things in life outside of just business that people are dealing with mentally, are not able to deal with because they don't understand how to deal with it. Because in the end of the day, you can give all the money you want to these different nonprofits and things of that nature, but if the policy's not gonna play on a local and a state and federal level, it really doesn't matter. Our tagline is your evolution starts with you. Like in order you make decisions in life or move forward, like it starts with you. I mean, all I can do is just push forward, make things happen, and hopefully to be awarded by the impact that I want to make.
All right, everybody. This is Archie Clay. This is his taste.
Wow. Bounce.
Whoa, goddamn. Whoa, goddamn. Whoa, 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 goddamn. Whoa, goddamn. Whoa, goddamn.
Just bounce. Oh.